Hi. Well, this is the Greys, their origins, their deal with Dad. So, I do want to start out with I channeled the ship and they hooked me up with a Grey so I could get the story from the Grey. So, boy, they are xenophobic, they are poly something or other, basically like Nazis. So, and he is definitely not getting a contribution credit in my book because he was a prick. But basically, what I got was the greatest planet is halfway between the creator's planet and Earth, and Mom and Dad did what they do with every planet they shake the sea monkey shit on. They kind of meddle or influence for a little while. Well, the gray solar system has 5 planets. There's 2 gray planets. They're kind of yucky, muddy, dark. All of the creatures, all the grays, are different colors of gray, like darker gray, lighter gray, etc. To them, the coloring kind of turned their society into a caste system. And the other 3 planets, I mean, okay, the Greys, we already know what they look like, or at least what we think we know. They're tall, they're skinny, they have large heads, big eyes, and Mom and Dad fixed the sea monkey mix. So there are 2 genders. So, positive, they have genitals. I don't know where they are. I don't know how they use them because I didn't ask because I didn't fucking care. But who in the hell are we to say they're sexless? I mean, that's just ridiculous. So the Greys evolve, and the other 3 planets are offensively colorful, and they have what we would use for descriptions as Hindu god type species or pharaoh or yeah, I guess Egyptian gods and goddesses. I mean, there are 3 planets. So the first planet, the colorful planet, it evolved to be like 2 arms, 2 legs. They had, varying different colors, but they looked a lot more like, Hindu gods. The second planet, they too looked, they had similar coloring, slightly darker than the first planet. They also developed like 4 to 6 arms and 4 to 6 legs. Like again, like a lot of the Hindu gods and goddesses. And the third planet, it evolved a mix, sort of like however the sea monkey mix on the environment of the planet, it dictates what's gonna grow and how it's gonna look. Well, third planet, the sea monkey mix, when it kind of did its thing, mixed animals and the humanoid like creatures together. So you have like Anubis or Thoth and stuff like that. I think even like Ganesh. I mean, I would say the third planet is geared more towards what we consider Egyptian gods. But I mean, whatever. So Mom and Dad did do their, putting their hand in and trying to push them towards unconditional love and all that crap. Well, they started with the Greys because they evolved first. Those 2 planets, one large gray planet, one smaller gray planet, and the larger gray planet is for the caste system where all the hires are. And as they evolved and evolved, Mom and Dad, were very positive that not a single one of those planets is going to evolve to be the perfect recreation. So they buggered off really early on. They didn't quite get spirituality and unconditional love sort of instilled in the Greys specifically. They spent more time with the other planets because they seemed to be more open to the spiritual. So that's that. And I don't know, it's kind of like their solar system. You got Greys over here, their 2 planets, and 3 planets sort of this way, but the sun's over here. The Greys planet doesn't get a lot of the sun. I don't know why. It's just their solar system. And yeah, they became very xenophobic, and I can't pronounce the other word, but think like Nazis, right? And they wanted to start, instead, it started out kind of like, oh, why did Mom and Dad bugger off so early? Why didn't they concentrate on us? And it eventually evolved into the idea of, okay, well, they didn't stay because we didn't need them. We're already good. We're perfect already as we are. It's all these inferior species that they need to spend a lot of time with. So they definitely got a superiority complex and whole, I cannot pronounce the word. It starts with an E, has a PH, and whatever, but definitely some xenophobia about other cultures, things like that. They took what they felt was their right as the superior species to use the lesser species as like slaves or whatever. They went outside of their solar system because they technologically evolved like all the species do. And they went outside the solar system. They found other planets. Some of the other planets were, childlike or what they considered kind of pathetic. There were some where they're like, okay, we're going to eradicate this species because they're completely useless. A lot of the other species, they want to take advantage of, whether it was because capitalism and status were very important to the Greys. They found other planets where they could get money from. They found planets that they could put cameras around and sell that to other planets. So we're not the first. They had been doing it for quite a while. Whether it was something stupid like alien dog fighting or, slave something, gladiatorial type shit like Romans, whatever they could do to make a buck and to get popular and a lot of ratings. And then go back into one of the chapters in Strange with the 2 that find us, blah, 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 read it. And then they are putting up cameras. Some of the casts are more scientifically interested in other species. Still, xenophobic and whatever the hell that word is. But less on the cruelty part and more on the information part. There's many different casts, and the ones on the big gray planet, they all get sort of a say. Like, what way do we want to go with this species? can you think of something for this species that'll benefit us? And really, they were looking to get rich and gain a lot more status in the universe. So they had already started with the cameras on other planets and view screens on the Greys planet and on, the other consumer planets. And they found that the more, like Earth itself, when they had started, it was very innocent. It was like, look, this is an interesting planet. These things are cute. Why the hell not watch them like a nature channel and make a quick buck? And so that kept going and kept going. Well, they had to come back and do some more cameras and drop off some of like the slave class, say Hindu, Egyptian god type aliens, and they wanted to get better ratings. So they influenced us. In many cultures, if you go back in Strange and earlier chapters, it details it. But I mean, it's pretty obvious. Look at, say, like the Pharaoh gods and shit like that. And some of the gods, like Easter Island carvings. And like just this variety of different shit. All kind of going in different ways. I mean, if you have the science team, gray aliens, they're in the oceans and they're observing us and looking at how we reproduce and shit like this. And it does start mostly sciencey, and then it gets a little more fucked up and a little more fucked up. But they come back to put a whole bunch more cameras around Earth so they can have more specialized channels, like human porn channels and serial killer channels and shit like that. I mean, the Greys, who the fuck are we to say they're sexless? I mean, they fixed the sea monkey mechs, the gods, like the creators did. So, of course they're gonna have two sexes. We've never actually seen one, so we don't actually know if they're sexless. I would say they're pretty fucking horny. So they would watch, human porn channels and serial killer channels and various different, good and positive kind of shit. I mean, same with humans. You have like dog fighting and you had the gladiatorial games and all this shit. Well, expand that with the Greys. They really wanted ratings, and they have very little care or morals towards other species. So they'd come back, they were putting up more cameras so they could have more viewing channels. And Dad had buggered off after Mom Lilith and the angels had, taken off. And he had come back, finally. And he saw what was going on. He saw these Greys putting up cameras. He saw some cameras that were already there. He saw human alien, deals where the humans would influence us, where the Greys could influence that human, they would influence the rest of us, shit like that. And they could just meddle and do whatever the hell they wanted. And so God was like, okay, well, I watched what you're doing, and I don't really think it's that cool. So the Greys and Dad went into negotiations because they had put a lot of work into Earth. They go into a negotiation, and you're going to have to use your imagination because I didn't really get details about the negotiations. I just know it took a while. they had to keep going back so they could consult with the other casts. And eventually, like, Dad was still super pissed at Mom. So eventually, they had struck a deal. It's like, you know what? You can do whatever the fuck you're doing. You can continue. Don't get any worse. Try to dissect humans a little less. But studying our oceans and using us for an entertainment would be fine as long as the Greys vilified Lucifer and the fallen angels and tried to wipe Mom and Lilith out of history. And it went pretty fucking well, honestly. I mean, if you got Christianity and many other misogynistic kind of spiritual, religious beliefs, then that does help. It kind of pushes the idea of female gods being not even existent. So it was working, and shit, I mean, fuck. Look at Trump being elected, pandemic, look at all the shit throughout history. The Spanish flu, I mean, it's all, I've written it into one of the chapters of Strange, but that was the Greys, trying to find a way to make it more entertaining, and how they can get more of humanity on Dad's side. It was kind of a dick move, but what can you expect? So Mom had heard about what was going on. So on her way back to Earth to actually come here to be like, okay, what the fuck? She stopped her and her fleet because the Greys came with her eventually. But stopped at the Greys planet and influenced them and explained to them and gave them some moral basis and what she felt was acceptable. And after a long enough time, they got on board with each other, and there was no human porn channels. You could watch humans have sex for anthropological reasons. No more, sadistic, influencing, no more trying to wipe Mom and Lilith off, the face of the fucking earth. Louie, well, she figured, you know what, you're fully capable of exonerating yourself, so that's on you. But so they figure this out. Mom teaches them and gives them unconditional love, and they start to understand that. And you can't really change a very long held, now I can't even think of the word, belief. Xenophobic belief. So they're still kind of xenophobic because, well, you can't snap your fingers. But they're on their way with Mom so they can help deal with taking the cameras down, helping to fix a lot of the shit that they willy-nilly destroyed or influenced in a bad way, and all these things. So there's like this armada on the way, and I'm personally quite excited. I am hoping it comes in my lifetime. I mean, Louie and I had a pretty good working relationship, so I'm pretty sure if I was standing in a crowd, he might be able to pick me out. I mean, maybe that's just my arrogance. It's possible. I'm a human. But, us who were capable of getting the messages and did actively try to put the story out there, regardless of how successful it was, we are all going to be considered sort of honored guests. So I also know, like, they have superior medical technology, and you never know. I might even get a cure. I mean, that'd be fucking awesome. I would love that. But, when they get here, it is going to be a shit show of panic and everything else. But I'm hoping that the Greys will have done enough damage control that when Mom and Lilith and Louie get here, that we're not gonna lose our shit and understand that the world's leaders are gonna, I don't know, come to the White House, and the Greys and Mom and Dad are all gonna kind of sit down, try to work their shit out, and how to get us on a path to true enlightenment and happiness. Sort of like, hey, Gene, I wish you were around when they got here, because you would have been one of those. So I would say, if we get into like a Star Trek time, that would be awesome if they're gonna be able to do that. But anyway, that is the story of origin of the Greys and the other gods in their solar system, the planets, and how their influence on us, etc. And I know it wasn't as interesting because Greys really aren't that fucking interesting. So, thank you for at least listening. Whether you think I'm loopy, well, that's on you.